Good morning, everyone, or afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching this video. I just reviewed last night's comments, and I was super motivated and super happy to see. Even though it was like 2 or 3 comments, it still made me very happy. I hope I can keep doing this for a very long time. Of course, I'm just getting started. I'm here with a new setup. Actually, another video was supposed to go live today, but I moved that one to Saturday as I saw a lot of news articles that I want to make a video about, and I just didn't want them to get too much outdated or too outdated. So yeah, let's dive into it. This first part of the video brings us to China. Recently, the People's Bank of China made a surprising move by cutting the interest rates by 0.25%. This includes key rates like the 7-day reverse repo rate, the 1-year loan prime rate, and the 5-year loan prime rate. This unexpected decision comes as China is facing a slowdown in economic growth. So why is this so important to crypto? Well, historically, lower global interest rates can boost risk assets like Bitcoin. When borrowing costs are reduced, it often leads to increased investments in various markets, including crypto. This could add significant momentum to an ongoing crypto rally. So when China cuts rates, we are seeing a potential influx of liquidity into the market, which can drive up demand for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Here you can see a chart with China's central bank balance sheet and some liquidity injections. We can clearly see there are 12-month cycles that are happening in the liquidity injections, and right now it's looking prime for another liquidity injection in the coming months. But it's not just China that's making these moves. Canada, the EU, and Denmark have also implemented a 0.25% rate cut, and we're still waiting for the Federal Reserve in the US to make its next steps. The Fed is already expected to cut rates 3 times this year, starting in September, amid easing inflation and a resilient labor market. Let's talk about institutional adoption. Here on the left, you can see a list of banks and financial corporations that are involved in crypto trading and or custody. You can also see that a lot of them have crypto ETFs or are looking into tokenization. So this is all super good news for the industry. We also, of course, recently launched the Ethereum ETF. Quite a lot of funds launched with their own separate tickers. And the Bitcoin ETFs are obviously still going very strong. You have the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF, the iShares Bitcoin Trust that even surpassed the Nasdaq ETF, the QQQ ticker. And the BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF was definitely the most successful ETF launched ever. So super bullish news to hear all of these ETFs doing very well. Here you can see a chart of the July USA Bitcoin inflow into these ETFs. Here's another chart. As you can see, yesterday there was an inflow of 1,000 Bitcoins. So yeah, it's definitely putting a lot of pressure on the supply of Bitcoin. Then we have BlackRock CEO Larry Fink also changing his mind. First, he was very negative about Bitcoin, but suddenly he's #1 marketing director of the whole Bitcoin community. This is actually a clip from an interview or a conversation that he had with Jim Cramer. So let's take a look at that.
Now, I know you have been a leader in willing to embrace crypto. You have made it so that people can be in Bitcoin. We hear that you are thinking about Ethereum. These are incredible things. Now, BlackRock is not known as a gunslinger by any means. So you obviously must believe that this maybe is an alternative. Is this an alternative in order to be able, because of a deficit, maybe something long-term people should have?
Absolutely. As you know, I was a skeptic.
Yes.
I was a proud skeptic. And I studied it, learned about it, and I came away saying, okay, my opinion 5 years ago was wrong. Here's my opinion today. This is what I believe in today. I believe the opportunity today. I believe Bitcoin is legitimate. I'm not trying to say there's not misuses like everything else, but it is a legitimate financial instrument that allows you to have maybe uncorrelated, non-correlated type of returns. I believe it is an instrument that you invest in when you're more frightened, though. Right. It is an instrument when you believe that countries are debasing their currency, debasing their currency by excess deficits, and some countries are. I believe we have countries where you're frightened of your everyday existence and have an opportunity to invest in something that is outside your country's control, then you can have more financial control. And so I'm a major believer that there is a role for Bitcoin in portfolios. I believe you're going to see that as one of the asset classes that we all look at. I look at it as digital gold, as I said before, and I do believe there's a real need for everyone to look at it as one alternative to, I would say, the optimism that I have in the world. If you want to hedge hope, Bitcoin is not an instrument for hope unless you're hopeful you're going to make a lot of money on it. But I look at it as a vehicle in which you're expressing your financial acumen in something that you're more frightened of the world, you're more frightened of your existence. And I believe there's a great industrial use for it. And I think a lot of people are missing that.
So super interesting to see that he's also part of the Bitcoin community now. We also had Elon Musk tweet about... He tweets, "Where are we with the dollar value destruction, you might ask?" And then it says, "You are here in between a Federal Reserve dollar note and then a highly inflated $50 trillion banknote from Zimbabwe." And then we have a bullet here at the end. I guess that stands for total collapse of society. But yeah, of course, this is also very good marketing for Bitcoin. Talking about Bitcoin, we have the Bitcoin 2024 conference that just started today. What's so special about this event? Well, this is a yearly event, but this is the first time in history where a former US president will speak on the main stage. We also have Robert F. Kennedy, who is also a presidential candidate for the upcoming elections. So yeah, super interesting to see and to anticipate what kind of things he might or might not say. We know that Donald Trump is very pro-crypto. I have a clip of him from a previous rally, so let's take a look at that.
I will ensure that the future of crypto and the future of Bitcoin will be made in the USA, not driven overseas. I will support the right to self-custody to the nation's 50 million crypto holders. I say this with your vote. I will keep Elizabeth Warren and her goons away from your Bitcoin. And I will never allow the creation of a central bank digital currency.
There are also rumors that Donald Trump is planning to announce that the US should hold Bitcoin as reserve currency for the US. That would be insane news. This is speculation from the CNBC. I'm going to play a clip in just a second. The Department of Justice, or just the US Department, already holds quite a bit of Bitcoin, but those are Bitcoin confiscated from illegal activities and criminals. So they never actively bought crypto or Bitcoin to hold it for a long time. So this would be a major shift in the landscape where a US president is actively advocating for Bitcoin and yeah, crazy stuff. So yeah, let's take a look at this clip for a moment.
Do you think that these favorable comments could go so far as to indicate that he'd be open to it being a reserve currency for the US?
Yeah, so there were some rumblings of that on X this week. It could be something that's very difficult to get done, but it is possible. The Justice Department holds about 200,000 units of Bitcoin. So the United States is the largest holder of Bitcoin. And so they could easily just move that over to the Department of Treasury and start right there and have 13 billion worth of Bitcoin on the balance sheet. So it is a possible move. It just could be tough to get done. But what happens is the Justice Department, in holding these units of Bitcoin, they've been a random seller in the space. And so if they move from being a random seller at times, which could push the price of Bitcoin down, over to being a long-term hodler, well, that could be really good for the space and push prices up.
Another thing that's interesting to see is that Senator Cynthia Lummis, it's a US senator, she will also be speaking at the conference, and she tweeted a few days ago, "Big things are in store this week, stay tuned," and the B from big is the Bitcoin logo. So very excited. Trump is going to speak this Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So let's wait and see what he has to say. Then going to the other party, Kamala Harris was the presidential nominee or the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. She also spoke briefly with the conference CEO. She might want to speak there too, but then eventually she said that she wasn't going to do it anymore. But her team did speak to Mark Cuban, who is a pro-crypto entrepreneur. Most of you might know Mark Cuban already. Not everything can be as good as it is as we look at the markets right now. We had a red day today, which happens. That could be because of several factors. One of them might be because the Mt. Gox Bitcoin is being distributed back to the original owners. Mt. Gox got hacked. In my next video, I will talk a bit more about that. But they're almost all given back, and most people seem to hold them on cold wallets, which is good. We also had the launch of the Bitcoin ETF, and Grayscale converted actually one of their trusts to a closed-end fund. So a lot of people were finally able to sell their funds, and that caused a massive outflow. In total, we had around $811 million going out of the Grayscale Ethereum Trust, and that also applied a bit of selling pressure on the markets. We can compare the Ethereum ETF launch to the Bitcoin launch. The volume of the Bitcoin ETF on the first day was $4.6 billion. The volume on the Ethereum ETF on the first day was $1.1 billion. It's not as big as Bitcoin, but still very big. And just as when the Bitcoin ETF got launched in January, we had a very slow first few weeks, but then in February the price started climbing up again. And I think that will happen with Ethereum as well. The good thing is that the Ethereum ETF will probably have a big impact on the price, as the inflation on Ethereum is currently very, very low. So on the first day, the net inflow, which is different from the volume, was $110 million, and not much new supply is coming into the markets, so Ethereum is deflationary. I think this is going to have a very big impact on the Ethereum price. Let's go to some other charts that I found. If you're into TA, you can see that we are forming a spring Wyckoff accumulation pattern, which is also very bullish. According to this pattern, we would see 80,000-ish Bitcoin in late summer, which would be very good. I would love to see it. We also have the Bitcoin weekly Bollinger Band, and as you can see, it's almost as low as in April 2016 and January 2023, when Bitcoin was $450 and $60,500, which is also a very good sign. And then the retail investor demand on Bitcoin is super low, which means that retail is currently not interested in entering the Bitcoin markets, while the price of Bitcoin is flirting with an all-time high. We're very close to an all-time high. Usually an all-time high pairs with a bigger demand in Bitcoin, but this time it's different. So that means when retail will start entering the markets again, we'll see another big boost in the Bitcoin price. So yeah, all very bullish signs overall. Another fun graph I wanted to show you are the previous cycles. We are currently in what the graph is calling the boring zone, and we are heading into the banana zone, and I would love to see how high this banana zone can go. To end this video, I want to show you this final graph, which is the Bitcoin price after previous halvings. It just shows you how early we still are in this cycle. This cycle will probably make a lot of people rich, and I hope that you watching this video will definitely be one of them. So if you enjoyed this video, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe, you know the drill. If you like this type of content, if you want me to go back to the previous kind of style that I had, let me know. I read everything, I reply to everything. Thank you again for watching, and I see you in the next video. Cheers, bye-bye.